Let's get to Brian Baldinger, man, the smartest man in football. A little Baldy breakdown here on a Morning Roast.
He breaks down plays better than anyone.
I mean, this is like Shark Week now. And you know what Baker Mayfield is? He's chum. Look at these sharks. You think you're getting away from those 4 angry sharks? It's Shark Week. It's time to eat. Make the read urgency. That's the name of the game right here. Urgency. Now, on it. He's on it. Touchdown. Beautiful throw.
He's our 95.7 The Game NFL insider, Brian Baldinger.
You know, Shask, I know you have this problem like I do. When the day is done on a Sunday night football is over, and I'm like, I need to get to sleep. But you know what? I got to get to Twitter and look at Baldy NFL to look at all his breakdowns and all the commentary. And then you waste like an hour, and it's like, oh, shucks, I got to get up in 5 hours. What the hell is going on?
And he's cooking Kirk Cousins on Twitter.
He's cooking Kirk. He's got the waddle dance going. He's looking at my guy Rodrigo in Detroit making plays at linebacker. Brian Baldinger joins the roast as he does every single Tuesday, 7:30. And we couldn't wait this week because he had a great breakdown of Jimmy Garoppolo's performance. And we'll get there in just a second. But Baldy, good morning. Welcome back to the roast, man. We've been waiting on you. Look, the injury to Trey Lance. We don't know who he is. Another wasted season. He's out with the broken ankle for the season. What did you see on the play call there? Did you agree with the play calls so far for Trey Lance in that game against Seattle?
Well, it was a designed quarterback run. It's a run that you see Lamar Jackson have a lot of success with. It's just a quarterback counter Trey. They're pulling the backside guard, Aaron Banks and Trent Williams. And, you know, it kind of, McGlinchey got a good block, just blew his guy up. There was a little traffic there. And, you know, in that play, the coaching point is you kind of want to take a counter step a little bit. You're holding the backside defense man. He's not being blocked. And you just don't want to rush it. And I felt like he probably doesn't get a whole lot of reps at the play. It's a good play. It's a good play for a lot of quarterbacks in this league. A lot of guys are using it right now. It's kind of universal play with quarterbacks that are dual threat guys. I just thought he rushed it. And when he did, he didn't really allow the blocks to get set. And, you know, that right foot got caught underneath. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, I'm sure the ankle snapped and, you know, just like awful sounds occurred. But, yeah, I just thought that was the play, and that was what happened on the play.
Well, Brian, I'm looking at this, and it wasn't the play for me. It was the totality of seeing how he was utilized going back to last year, which I understand how green and how raw he is. From my seats, I'm sitting there, I'm going, he's getting hit too many times, whether it's in the pocket, whether it's running, and I just felt like they were flirting with disaster, and I felt like I could see it coming a mile away. Is that fair for me to have that point of view?
Well, I mean, I thought last year, Joe, for sure, you know, that first start against, you know, Arizona, I think he had 20 carries.
Yeah.
And, you know, he got dinged at the goal line. It was just way too many. You know, he had 3 runs, basically 3 designed runs the other day. Like, you know, I mean, it's still early in the game now. So maybe it's too many, Joe. You know, part of drafting Trey Lance was you thought that, and the idea was it could really enhance your powerful running game as it is. Make the defense defend all 11 players. And it's something that they didn't have to do with Jimmy. And so the offense does have a different level to it that it doesn't have with Jimmy. But you can fall in love with too many quarterback runs. I don't care what the name of the jersey is, because, you know, you're going to scramble for some, and, you know, they're going to get, all of a sudden you're going to start adding up quarterback runs.
Right.
Like too many. It's almost like the same issue that, you know, people had with Debo last year. We loved it, but yet it's too many. And we might get to that now. I'm sure you're going to get to the injuries, but, you know, you just want to kind of manage it and manage the hits if you can.
No doubt.
You know, to guys that carry the football in positions where they got a lot of other responsibilities besides being a runner.
You know, Baldy, the other day, Shanahan after the game was like, do you guys watch Buffalo? He's talking to the media out here to Bay Area. Do you guys watch Buffalo? We run that quarterback play all the time. Go watch Josh Allen. Now, you look at the way Josh Allen's used in Buffalo and the way he started. I heard you last week with Willard, Mark Willard here on 95.7 The Game saying, hey, look, 17 games through Josh Allen's career, he was not that great. He had to work through some things. But when you watch the way Allen's used and you watch the way Jalen Hurts is used, do the 49ers do things differently with their quarterbacks as opposed to Hurts in Philly and Allen in Buffalo?
Not really. I mean, the Eagles don't run that quarterback power, but they run read option. I mean, they scored on a touchdown last night from Jalen Hurts. on the opening drive of the game, it was just a basic read option. Block the end. He made two guys miss. Jordan Hicks, he ran him over to get in. I mean, I can't say that they do things differently than some of the other teams you just mentioned. I mean, a lot of these runs are kind of copycat runs. It's not
right.
Josh Allen. Look, that guy is he's just different.
He's a unicorn.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know if anybody has more talent than that guy right now, but the development has been crazy over the last 4 years.
Have we learned anything about Trey Lance? Because that feels like the biggest stinger for me is that we're going to go a whole nother year. He's going to go 7 starts in the last 45 months or whatever until his next game. It just feels like to me, my God, I learned nothing about Trey Lance. Did you learn anything about Trey Lance over the handful of starts we got?
Nope. No, because he just hadn't played enough, Joe. I mean, 2 starts last year. A start into the second quarter, or not even out of the first quarter of the second start, and he's out. I hate to say this, Joe, but he got hurt at North Dakota State. He got hurt last year. He got hurt, last Sunday. I mean, he's got injuries, and nobody wants that tag. Nobody at any position. I don't care if you're the kicker. Nobody wants that tag of being injury prone. But it's a fact. It's a fact right now, and so that's probably the worst thing, what you just said, Joe, is the 49ers, the fans, even Trey, doesn't know what he is yet. Like, you're not going to get any better by rehabbing and sitting out the year. Nobody's going to improve that way. You're going to be more mature. You're going to watch more football. You're going to listen to more meetings. You're going to absorb more, but it's not going to make you a better player. And so the 49ers are in a tough situation when you get injuries at that position and one that knocks you out for the season.
It's wild, Baldy, because they basically traded up 3 first-round picks to go get Trey, and now they may be back in the quarterback market next offseason, which is wild because Shanahan's been here for 6 years, and they haven't figured out the quarterback spot. We're talking to Brian Baldinger here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game.
Real quick,
yep.
Like even Kyle said, whether it was yesterday or Sunday, I forget, but he said, look, we've been here 6 years. We've lost our quarterback in 4 of the 6 years.
Wow.
What do you make of that?
Wild.
What do you make of that, Baldy? Is that just coincidence, accidents? Is that a lack of protecting your quarterback?
Some of it is fluke, right? Jimmy in Kansas City was a fluke.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Like, when you say 4 of 6 years, that's a trend.
It's a trend, but, I mean, maybe it's just the guys that they have.
Okay.
I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo got a chance to start in New England when Tom Brady was suspended, and he got hurt.
Yeah.
He got hurt in San Francisco, and the reason why they traded those 3 first-round picks and moved up to get Trey is because of the injury history of Jimmy. And they, and now here's Trey with that history. So, like, sometimes, I mean, you hate to say that it's just bad luck, but it feels like it's just bad luck.
Wow.
I mean, Dak Prescott's, you look at certain guys, but there are certain guys that, no matter what you do to them, they just keep lining up every Sunday. And you can't predict. You can't legislate against injuries. You can't predict if they're going to happen. But some guys just seem to line up. The first thing I ever look at, what I always look at, when I always just look at the history of a player, is do they line up for 16 or now 17 weeks? Freddie in the middle, you just pretty much guarantee 17 games he's going to line up. He'll be there every Sunday. He did it at BYU. He did it at high school. There's certain guys that no matter what you do, how violent the game is, they're there every Sunday for you.
Well, now we're back to Jimmy Garoppolo, Baldy, and we all thought we have moved on from Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going to be starting on Sunday Night Football against the Denver Broncos. What did you see from Jimmy on Sunday? Can you break it down, what you saw, the good and the bad?
I thought the arm was as strong as it's ever been. So, you come back from major shoulder surgery. I mean, he threw a couple out routes, in that game that were about as crisp and sharp as you can ever expect from Jimmy. We know he doesn't have the league's strongest arm, and that's okay. Montana didn't have the strongest arm, but, there's only one Joe.
Right.
So, you throw the ball with anticipation, but I thought the arm looked strong, and I thought this decision-making, considering he hadn't really played since the championship game last year, I thought it was very crisp. He threw a ball to Deebo Samuel, and, his first look was to the right. There's 2 receiver out over there. He kind of looked at it. He knew he had Deebo backside and just came right back to him, and the ball was like just quick, sharp decision making things. And then you saw him on short yardage, goal line situations. third down, fourth down, I mean, he's getting you the yard when you got to get the yard. And so, he put that shoulder. I mean, he got hit the first play that he put the ball on. Mm-hmm. And then there was 2:20 to go in the first quarter. The very first throw to Brandon Ayuk, I mean, he got splattered right onto his shoulder, and he got right up from it. So it looks like the health is good, the arm strength is good, and the decision-making is good, considering there has been little to no practice time since last January. I don't think you could ask for anything more.
I felt the same way, Baldy. It felt very rhythmic for Jimmy Garoppolo. But you referenced the very first pass, and I said, oh, my goodness. So what does this offensive line look like through a couple games? Are they going to be able to adjust to the pocket quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo and keep him upright moving forward?
Well, they've lost their top two running backs right now. So, running backs are involved in protection too.
Right.
And so now you're, Jeffrey Wilson, you got a rookie undrafted, Jordan Mason, like whoever else they can find right now.
Marlon Mack's on the practice squad.
Okay, Marlon Mack's on the practice squad. All right, he's played in this league. We'll see what he looks like. But, first of all, backs and protection. Mm-hmm. It's more than just your five up front. They have a lot of play action passes where, you hold the ball let these routes develop. You hope that the play action and all the run action that they give you holds things, but sometimes you hold it and you're going to get hit. Just, it's a fact of life. They're doing fine. It's going to take a while. There's three new guys inside, and so it takes a little while to kind of put it together and figure things out. You got to learn how to play next to the guys next to you, and there's just not enough time in preseason to really make that finely tuned, and so you need the games to finally tune it.
Yeah, no doubt. And Baldy, look, Jimmy's back in the lineup, and we'll get to the defense in just a second because Hufanga's flying around. You brought up Fred Warner. Nick Bosa's attacking. It was Shark Week for him against Seattle. But with Jimmy Garoppolo back in the saddle for the 49ers, doesn't it feel like the expectations now, hey, this is one of the best teams in the NFC. They can do some big-time things in the 2022 season now that Jimmy Garoppolo's back at quarterback.
Well, I agree with you, Bonte, because I've always said, and this is not a cliche, it's just a fact, is that it's hard to win games while you're developing a young quarterback. It just is. And so, sometimes you can just be a Dak Prescott and come in day one, like you take over for Tony Romo, and you're the guy, and there isn't a big learning curve. But he had the league's best offensive line in front of him. He had a great running game, and certain things that helped him, not diminishing anything that Dak's accomplished. But it's hard, especially for a guy that's played as little as Trey has played. So, to your point, I feel the same way. I feel like, okay, it's full speed ahead right now. We don't have to develop. We don't have to have these growing pains. We've got a guy that's been to a championship game, been to a Super Bowl, won big games on the road, all that stuff, full speed ahead. Let's go.
NFL legend with us breaking down the film every single week, Brian Baldinger. Baldy, let's just talk about this defense. You put out a video about Hufanga playing safety, and Bonte has been just all over the long list of great safeties that have played for the 49ers, going back to, Dwight Hicks and the hot licks back there with Ronnie Lott playing corner, and then he transitioned to safety. Fuller, Dante Hittner, Tim McDonald. I mean, there's a long list of great 49er safeties. It really feels like Hufanga's coming into his own, and he sees the field.
He's unbelievable. I mean, he almost had 2 interceptions the other day. He got his hands on the ball. But he's everywhere. And I heard he worked out this offseason with Troy Polamalu. I don't know that for a fact. So I'm just hearing what I hear. But you can't help but be reminded of Troy, the way that he plays. Like, when he's at the line of scrimmage, he's a linebacker. Like, you see that Fred Warner's not leading the team in tackles right now because Hufanga's like, he's so fast, and so is Greenlaw. But that's a good thing. I mean, Freddie with 14 tackles is great, but they're so fast right now on defense, and they respond so quickly. And he's a big part of it. When your free safety flies like that, there's something about it. It just makes everybody look faster.
It does.
It makes the defense look faster. They're already fast. They react well. He's an amazing talent. And I think the 49ers, I just already know 49er fans are going to fall in love with the kid the way he plays.
We already are, Baldy. We already love the guy.
Pro Bowl talent, you think? I mean, is that what we're talking about?
Forget Pro Bowl, all pro talent, it looks like.
The thing that makes, look,
yeah,
they got the number one job is just don't give up touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, you're the last line of defense just by the description, you're the safety.
Yeah.
So you stop that from happening. That's good. They have done that for the most part. But then if you could take the ball away, force fumbles, interceptions, tip balls that get interceptions, like last week, that's where you make your name. That's what separates the safeties in this league. The guys that can take the ball away. Kevin Byard in Tennessee. He did it at Middle Tennessee State. He's doing it for the Titans now. Like, when you can start taking the ball away and getting your hands on the ball, that's what separates safeties. And already you're seeing him do that.
So, Baldy, as we look ahead to Denver, Sunday Night Football, Russell Wilson, they struggled against the Texans, but you'll take a win. Nathaniel Hackett gets his first win as head coach of the Denver Broncos. How do you defend Russell Wilson, and can this defense go into Denver and snuff out the Broncos like the Texans basically did all day Sunday?
Well, I think, the 49ers have, great history going up against Russell. There's certainly it's not like they're going getting a new quarterback.
Right.
I mean, nobody has more history than the 49ers do with him, so including playoff games. So, you know that he's always looking to extend a play. The first read might not be there. So already that you just have to keep chasing, because the one weakness I've seen from this defense so far this season, it happened in Chicago, it happened twice the other night, is that when a quarterback holds the ball a long time, the way Geno did on 2 occasions, the way Justin Fields did in week 1, they're kind of going to sleep. And that's how the Bears scored their first touchdown the other night and left Dante Pettis wide open. They did it again last week. When these quarterbacks are holding the ball for 5 and 6 seconds, they're losing guys in the secondary. And that's what would concern me, is not the initial play or the initial defense, but Russell spinning out away from Nick Bosa, getting to an open part of the field, and then playing the play beyond the play. That's the part that all the 49ers should be really paying attention to this week.
Yeah, Baldy, you're just the absolute best. The people are dying to see you on the stream, and now that you're on here and everything. I was looking at your Instagram. You were on the field for that Dolphin-Baltimore game?
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been unbelievable.
Gosh.
Well, I was doing I announced the game for national radio, so I was up in the booth, but pregame, I was down there. So I saw Tyreek Hill. Like, nobody's having more fun in this life than Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's out there having a competition for an hour to see who can throw the ball the farthest on the team. Like, he's not even, he's just running around like a kid out there. Like, Baldy, watch this. I can throw it 60. I go, no, you can't. Throw it 60 with the spiral, Tyreek. And sure enough, 60 with the spiral. Like, they're just.
Is that because of McDaniels? No, because I didn't see this. I didn't see this personality from Tyreek Hill until he left Kansas City, and maybe it's because he feels more at home in Florida or whatever. But I do feel like the empowerment of McDaniels, not only to Tua and Tyreek, that whole team's playing free.
Well, it's interesting, Mike always. You have to listen to Mike, because it's never a cliche answer.
No,
but he said after that game, they were down 35-14 in the fourth quarter. Like he said after the game, he goes, I was hoping that we could face some adversity today. Like, so, you're down 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and come back and win the game. Like, the sound bites of what he says, like, he just coaches differently. And so, but I do think that he empowers the players.
Yep. Like
Jalen. I saw Tyreek, and I asked him, I said, you ran a play the other day. You come in motion, you come across the formation. It's not even a play. You're just running down the field, and you turn around, and it's like, okay, we're on the street, stop at the Buick, I'm going to put it up, let you go get it. And that's what he did. He goes, that is kind of what it was. I go, well, is there a name to that play, or what do you do?
Right.
He goes, they just trusted me to go beat the corner. I'm like, all right. I mean, that's not any kind of offensive precision that I've seen, but that's kind of how they play sometimes, a lot of street ball. And, Tua was pretty good at it.
Baldy, you were all over this when you first joined us for this football season. You discussed the loss of Mike McDaniel, how will it affect the 49ers, and right away we see him beat the New England Patriots. We see him score 42 against a tough Baltimore defense, and everybody's doing the Waddle dance. It's everybody's favorite dance, and they were doing it in Baltimore. They both go over 100 yards, Tyreek and Waddle, and it's just in my mind. I keep looking at the Niners, the way they play offense, and I'm looking at the Dolphins and how much fun they're having. I'm like, damn, Baldy was on to something with Mike McDaniel. We're going to see how big that loss is for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers moving forward, Baldy.
Well, you just don't see many guys like that, period, in this league. I mean, there's no playbook for Mike McDaniel. It always changes. And then his eye for talent, Raheem Mostert, like that was his guy. He saw it. I mean, but he has this thing. It's not all about speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's guys that know how to play with speed.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got two guys that are fast but know how to play. You know, there's a lot of guys that can run fast, but they don't know how to play. They don't know how to get open. And you know, these two guys, their body types. Because really, when you look at route runners, like Jalen Waddle is a great route runner. It's can you have subtle movements, change of directions without losing speed? Like there's only few, like, you know, Stephon Diggs has that.
Right.
So there's only certain guys that have it, but you have to see it. Like you have to be able to see it. Mike McDaniels, he sees things that a lot of people don't see.
Baldy, where you at this Sunday? Because you've been at two classics now: Cardinals, Chiefs.
I mean, the only way to get to the next classic is go to Tampa, to Green Bay and Tampa.
Oh wow!
You and
Baldy.
Giselle?
Dude.
Little dinner with the kids?
I don't have that planned. But steakhouse.
Oh, nice.
First steakhouse Saturday night.
Nice.
Florida State. Wow, they lost their quarterback, but I'm a big Seminoles fan. That was a big win against Louisville.
Baldy,
big
you're
win.
making me feel better. I needed this therapy session on a Tuesday.
Okay, you got it. So we'll do another one next week.
No,
Sounds
can't
good,
wait,
buddy.
can't wait, Baldy. Baldy, you're
Miss
the
ya.
best, man. We'll see you on Twitter at Baldy NFL. Brian Baldinger.
The best.